Welcome, one and all, to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. It was an absolutely beautiful day here in New York.
Yeah.
You know? 70 degrees.
True. It's true.
70 degrees and sunny with a chance of jail. Because about not that far, like 4 miles south of here, the former president was arraigned on 34 felony counts. He was supposed to arrive at the courthouse around 11 a.m., but he didn't leave his building until after 1 p.m., which is pretty late, but in his defense, those SpongeBob episodes just keep auto-playing. You just gotta shut it. Once he finally arrived down at the courthouse, we heard these immortal words.
This moment at 1:24 p.m. Eastern Time, Donald J. Trump is under arrest.
All right, I understand. I know. It feels good, but remember, he is innocent until proven so guilty. At that point, of course, he was read his Miranda rights. Then he claimed that Miranda wasn't even his type, asked her to sign an NDA, and got indicted again. The judge ruled that video cameras were not allowed in the courtroom, but did allow some still photography. Here it is. To his left there is his lawyer, Joe Tacopina, seen here saying, "How many T's an attorney? Hey, when you trace your hand, it kind of looks like a turkey. Hey, boss, should we get sandwiches?" Then, for a long time, all we had was these still photos, so cable news did their best to fill time.
That is a pissed-off Donald Trump.
He doesn't look like a happy man in these images.
No question, that is an angry Donald Trump.
It's not just anger. There's a weight, there's a sadness. He looked like a defeated man.
Almost pensive.
Pensive? You know pensive means thinking, right? What are you talking? This is what he always looks like. There's no way of knowing what's going on in his head there. Actually, there is one way. Jim, can we zoom in? They also... Looks tasty. They also released a court sketch. There it is. Here's the former president being indicted for stealing all of Whoville's Christmas presents. There was one camera. Sure. You're a foul one. There was one camera in the hallway outside of the courtroom where the ex-pres found out that there's a lot less pomp and circumstance around you when you're the defendant than when you're the commander-in-chief.
There's a court officer, I believe, who enters before him, doesn't hold the door open for him, and the former president actually has to push the door open for himself, which is probably the first time he's had to do that in quite some time.
Wow, that's kind of special. It's not often you see a door hitting an ass on the way in. Hey! Now, boom. No. While in court, the former president was officially charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, all of which were classified as Class E felonies. Well, leave it to the man with the golden toilet. Even his felonies are Class E. Now, some people out there have pointed out that Class E are the lowest level of felonies in the New York State Penal Code. So little crimes, nothing serious, kind of cute. Like other Class E felonies, arson in the 4th degree, welfare fraud, or abandonment of a child. Don't worry, Dad, I'll never testify against you. You can buy my silence with a hug, or you can have Michael Cohen hug me and then secretly hug him back off the books. Now, just some, thank you. A lot of pundits warned that today New York would be overwhelmed by an angry MAGA mob, but this morning there were so few pro-MAGA protesters, the reporters had to line up to talk to them. It's never got a couple. It's never a good sign when there are fewer people at your current rally than are in prison for your last one. And once he saw the weak MAGA turnout, the president was quick to blame it on location, posting on Truth Social, very unfair venue, with some areas that voted 1% Republican. This case should be moved to nearby Staten Island. Yes, making it the first time anyone has ever said, we should go to Staten Island. One, the ferry is so fun. It's free, it's beautiful, lovely people. One MAGA-laga ding-dong who was there today was Marjorie Taylor Greene. On her way to speak outside the courthouse, she gave an interview about just how noble this indictment really is.
Trump is joining some of the most incredible people in history being arrested today. Nelson Mandela was arrested, served time in prison. Jesus was arrested.
It's true. It's true. Jesus was arrested, and I keep forgetting that he was arrested because he was put on trial for getting Judas to pay Mary Magdalene not to tell anyone she spanked him with a Dead Sea Scroll. Which, of course, led to this famous sermon, Heavenly Father, please remind them to donate generously at jesushchrist.biz. Okay, here I go, ascending to heaven like a dog. I don't actually remember that. I don't remember that part of the... Greene wasn't the only wacky character to visit the courthouse today. One MAGA protester was there to bring the loud.
You're pro-Trump.
Yeah.
You're handing out whistles to...
Yeah. Make a noise. Everybody must hear us.
Interesting. And
Everybody must hear us.
You don't worry that might be drowning out Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever over there?
I like to make a noise. I'm here to make a noise.
I think he might have the ex-president's honest new campaign slogan, I like to make a noise. So, with...
Checks out.
So with fewer MAGA than predicted and a whole lot of the noise, it's no surprise that Greene fled her own rally after just 10 minutes. Well, you know what they say about New York. If you can make it here, you're not Marjorie Taylor Greene. And we will have the composer of that song, John Kander, right over there in just a few minutes with Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's kismet. I tell you, it's kismet, as my people say. It was a crazy day. All the crazies were out. There was a guy dressed as Freddy Krueger holding a sign calling the district attorney a nightmare. He wasn't the only horror movie villain. There was also a guy there dressed as Leatherface. Now, as fascinating as today was, it also gives me this uneasy feeling, because no matter how you feel about the ex-president, and I'm on record as to how I feel about him, now streaming on Paramount Plus, a mountain of that guy. The man who was arrested today is likely to be the Republican nominee for president, even if he has to accept the nomination on the phone through plexiglass. So all of this was weird and totally unprecedented, yet it still feels like the right thing to do. The same way it would be weird and unprecedented to shoot a tranq dart inside the Supreme Court, but it would be the right thing to do if the Senate confirmed Chief Justice Cocaine Bear. So all in all, this is a pretty big deal. And these aren't even the biggest charges coming. The big ones are being investigated by Special Counsel Jack Smith, seen here officiating a wedding on Zargon 5. Among other crimings, Smith is investigating the classified documents down in Mar-a-Lago, and yesterday we got a spicy little update. The FBI has fresh evidence pointing to possible obstruction. I assume they mean of justice, though it could be of colon. Specifically, investigators have new and significant evidence that after the subpoena was delivered, the ex-president looked through the contents of some of the boxes of documents, apparently out of a desire to keep certain things in his possession. And we know this because they got security camera footage. He was busted by his own security cameras. How could he make that mistake? 2 of the 5 words he knows are camera and TV. In addition, that's... We got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Broadway legends John Kander and Lin-Manuel Miranda.